Now we'll go over the basic rules for adding numbers with multiple digits. And again, this is stuff you should already know, but we'll review it quickly here just to make sure you have it down, and I'll make some comments along the way. Let's look at this example, 57 plus 32. These are both two-digit numbers, and when we add them up, it helps to write them such that all the ones digits are in the same column, and all the tens digits are in the same column. So the ones digit from the 57 is right above the ones digit from the 32, and so on. And then when you have it like that, you can just add them together. 7 ones plus 2 ones gives me 9 ones, and I can add the 7 and the 2 because they both represent the same thing. They represent ones. I can add this 5 and this 3 because they both represent the same thing. 5 tens and 3 tens give me 8 tens. So I have an 8 here in the tens place in my answer. It's just like adding 5 apples plus 3 apples gives me 8 apples. I can add those because they both represent the same type of thing. I can add the 5 and the 3 because they are both tens. They're the same type of thing. So that's the idea. And let's look at a couple of more examples. 54 plus 21. Well, I can add the ones. 4 and 1 is 5. 4 ones plus 1 1 is 5 ones. And 5 tens plus 2 tens is 7 tens. So I have a 7 in the tens column in my answer. And let's look at a three-digit number, 723 plus 252. Again, I can add the ones. 3 and 2 add up to 5 ones. I add the tens. The 2 and the 5 give me 7 tens, and then the hundreds. 7 hundreds plus 2 hundreds gives me 9 hundreds. And you'll notice that I've been starting in the ones place and then moving to the higher places. So I start on the right side and move to the left. Next, we'll talk about carrying, and I'll show you what this means with an example. Look at this, 47 plus 28. If I want to add these, in many cases, when I add the two digits, the 7 and the 8, for example, I end up with a number that has more than one digit. 7 plus 8 is 15, and I have to carry a digit to the next column. If I add the 7 and the 8, I get 15. That's 5 ones, and that 1 there represents 1 10. So when I add those, 7 and 8, and get a 15, I have to put my 5 here, and then I stick the 1 in the tens column because that's what it is. It really is a 10. It represents 1 10. So I put it up there, and then I add it along with the other tens. That 4 represents 4 tens, and the 2 represents 2 tens. And 1 and 4 and 2 add up to 7. So 75 is my answer. And sometimes I have to carry more than once. Look at this example. 489 plus 768. Okay, let's add these up. 9 plus 8, remember I start on the right side. 9 plus 8 is 17. So that I put the 7 there and I put the 1 up here. I put that in the tens column because it really is a 10. And now I add up all the numbers in the tens column. 8 and 1 is 9, and 6 is 15. So I put my 5 there, and then I carry the 1 again. I'm adding in the tens column, so this is 15 tens. So this 1 has to go into the next column, which is the hundreds. And then I add 1 and 4, which gives me 5, and add the 7, and I get a 12. And I end up with 1,257 for my answer. And just for practice, we'll work through a few examples and just make sure we understand the process. 9 plus 3, here I start at the right-hand column in the ones column. 9 and 3 is 12, so I put down the 2 and carry the 1. 7 plus 1 is 9, so I just write down the 9. There's nothing to carry there. And then 8 plus 3 is 11, so I put the 11 right there, and that's my answer, 1,192. The next example, I start here. 5 plus 1 is 6, nothing to carry. Then 6 plus 8 is 14, and I have to carry the 1. 8 and 5 is 13, and then I have to add that 1 also, so that's 14 again, and I carry the 1. and then I add the 6 and the 1, and I get a 7. So 7,446 is the answer. You can also add more than two numbers. You could add 3 or even more. Again, I always start at the right-hand column. 7 and 5 is 12, and 1 more is 13. So I put the 3 and carry the 1. Then 9 and that 1 right above it is 10, plus 2 is 12, plus 3 is 15. So I put the 5 down, carry the 1. I add those two 7s, that gives me a 14, plus that 1 is 15, plus that 2 is 17. So I put the 7 down, carry the 1. Then I have a 3 and a 1 is a 4, and I add that 6, that gives me a 10. So I have to write a 0 here and carry the 1. And then I add the 4 and the 1, and I get 5. So 50,753.